Lars, probably a player who's a little bit more focused on non-Simcraft related bits of WoW content. I'll definitely say calling to fire people is not really the solution here, and it's going to be counterproductive. But I think what is worth doing is, diving into the reason why someone would ask that question. Yeah. And it is that, if you are somebody for whom, delving into Ubers and going in this adventure with your friends, if that's the type of way you're playing WoW and you're really there as a role-playing game player, you're going to see Raider.io and time trial dungeons, and you're going to think that the game is moving away from you. And to that, I'll say I actually agree in a whole bunch of ways.
Definitely.
I, though, don't think that should be fixed by Blizzard changing what I think is working for a bunch of players. Yeah. You remove M+, and sure, if everything's a mega dungeon without a time trial, I will be a lot more happy. A lot of WoW people will not be happy. Instead, I think the way to fix that problem is more mega dungeons. It's great to see we got one nice and early this time around. And also, pretty big also, is doing things like reputations in a non-systematized way. And we've talked about this before, but if everything's a world quest, doesn't matter what rep the world quest is even doing, it all feels the same. There's just that way that there's a bunch of boys called the Netherwing, and they're over there, and they have their own unique content. That doesn't happen in the game right now. So perhaps to somebody like Lars, who is worried about the sort of this simming and the esportsiness, perhaps that is something that putting more content like that in the game would make
I think it's fundamentally I think World of Warcraft can be enough for every type of player. It was in the past, it still can be. It's just Blizzard need to figure out what's keeping their content cadence so low. Because if you had, because obviously, the way they do the mega dungeons is actually pretty smart. The way usually, I can't remember how long it was until Mechagon and Kara became Mythic Plus dungeons, but they were scaled for patch. They were scaled for Season 2 very hard at the start. So you were limited to that for a period of time, but you're going to be limited to that anyway because it's content that you'll finish it. So I think they can solve this problem by just going super deep on, okay, what is stopping us from just reusing a bunch of art assets and getting a design team in the corner and make here's another mega dungeon. Here's a mega dungeon every patch. Here's something like Deaths of Chromie that's completely divorced from all actual player progression. And it all boils down to just more content.
Absolutely. I wish Blizzard would actually just reuse art assets more if it's in the service of more content. Because the thing that's really expensive to do when you are, making a game is making your big new systems and implementing them. Making all of your art assets. I mean, not to get into any interesting local stories, but I think you would know what I mean. You can spend a lot of money making art assets, and it doesn't, not really the right play. So for here in this situation, Blizzard, reuse the hell. Be as thrifty as you can with the art assets that your team is making, because they make awesome art assets, and I would be more than happy to experience more content within those tile sets. And I almost wish that we had a form of dungeon that wasn't a mega dungeon, as in does not need to be extremely humongous and long, but another type of dungeon that just feels a bit more like Halls of Reflection. Because, a dungeon like Halls of Reflection is a bit harder to do in an M+ sort of situation, because the RP elements don't feel great in, with not Arcway. Was it Arcway? The other one, the Nightborn RP heavy awesome dungeon where
Core Stars?
Core Stars,
Core Stars, yeah.